Okay, so on to masking. Now, any black and white image can be used as a mask, but we have a few masks in Fusion that we can use. We have the ellipse, the rectangle, the polygon, the paint, and the volume mask. We of course also have cryptomats that we will come back to later. Now each of these masks have similar settings. Let's begin with the ellipse. And they are similar to the bitmap node. Looking at the ellipse node, we have some further options along with the level and soft edge. We also have border width, which increases or decreases the size based on the overall width and height. We also have the width and height controls here, but it is easier to control them in the viewport using the viewer manipulator. We can also grab it at the edge here to control it uniformly. The rectangle is similar, but we also have the option to soften the corners here. And finally, we have the polygon mask. This just lets us create our own. So we just click anywhere we want to start to create our mask. We can click and hold to create a curve, and then we can close it off. Now we get the same options here, but one of the things we can do, and we can do this with any mask, is to right click, and in the polyline menu here, we can make outer polyline. You'll see we get these little diamonds here, and what we can do is control clicking, we get this new dotted line that we can then move out and use to soften the fall off here. So let me just separate these two and drag this down. So now we can control which areas are hard and which areas are soft. If we want to delete a point, we can just click and delete. And if we want to add, we just click anywhere on the line. We do have these tangents we can control. If they are locked, as they are when we use a single click, we can hold in control and change them separately. Okay, so one way, or one masking option I use quite often, is the volume mask. So let me just drop this down. And what this mask wants is the X, Y, and Z position. So for this we need the position pass, but as these values here are stored as RGB, we first need to change them into the XYZ position, as that is what the volume mask is looking for. And the easiest way to do this is just using a channel boolean. And what I want to do is transfer these RGB values into the beauty pass. So let me just plug this into the foreground, set these to do nothing, as I don't want to affect the RGB quite yet. And in the AUX channels, enable extra channels. And within the X, Y, and Z position, choose the RGB. And this will change, or this will take the RGB values from the foreground, which is the position here. So we don't see any change to the RGB as we told it to do nothing, but they do exist now within the extra channels. So if I plug this into the volume mask, you can see what happens if I grab this picture here. I'll switch it to sphere for now and drag it onto the image. So we get this white dot that translates over the position in 3D space, and I can increase the size and fall off. Now, of course, I can't use this as a mask yet. The easiest way to change this is just to take the color away from the incoming beauty. Let me just gain this right down. Cool. So now we can use this as a mask. Say for instance we wanted this patch down here to be darker, we could just ramp this up, plug this into a color correct and darken down this area. What's especially good about this mask is because it's based in world space or the world position, we can use this on a moving image and the mask will stick to the geometry. Nice. So the last mask I wanted to mention is the mask paint. So let me just drop this down. And this, of course, allows us to create a mask that we use based on a brush. If we drop down the brush controls, we have similar settings here to what you see in Photoshop, obviously not as advanced, but we can change the brush size, its softness, a little too soft. And we also have some interesting apply modes. Along with the standard erase and color, we also have like color stamp, and we can also use an image instead if we want to use a specific type of brush. Oh, let me just switch this back to color. Now most of these are overkill for what you'll need to mask, but it's good to know that these exist. And I would suggest playing about with some of these settings here. Now finally, let's look at animating some of these masks. So we'll take the ellipse for now. And all we need to do is very similar to Houdini. If I go back to frame 0, I can right click anywhere here. We'll take the center, which is here, and animate this. It goes green. We move to another frame, move this guy, and it automatically keys it for us. So you can see it jumps back and forth here. If we want to change the graph, we go into the spline tab and we select the ellipse. And you can see we have it here. Now to zoom in and out, it's the same, middle click and left mouse button. To change the size of these graphs here, you can go and hover above the numbers and just drag it out. And of course, we can change the tangents. Now the polygon mask is a little different. What we can do here is we can key the whole shape. So if I grab this and I right click here on shape animation and set key, again go up a little bit and set key again, I can make these changes, just drag this around. And you can see it warps. Now, the best use for this is say you have something moving in your scene, you don't have a mask for it, or a crypto mat, and you just need to do a quick color correction. You can animate these masks through the scene, so they track your object. Cool, so that's all I wanted to demonstrate here. Quick overview of all the masks. And next up, we'll take a look at 2D and 3D sky replacement.